Hi and welcome to another word mentality episode of Grammar and Thongs, where we look at the origin of a word that's a bit tricky to spell, in the hope that the story about where that word came from will help you to remember the unusual spelling. In this case, we're looking at the word subtle and that pesky B in the middle that we don't pronounce, but we have to remember when spelling. So I think we all know what subtle means. It's an adjective and it describes a change or a difference that is so delicate or precise that it's hard to analyse or describe. So that's what it means, but why has it got that B in there? Especially when it's a silent B that we don't pronounce. Let's deal with the pronunciation first, and then we'll get to why it's there in the first place. So this word has Latin origins, but we actually got it in the English language from the Old French. And the Old French version didn't have a B. So it came into Middle English without a B. At some point, hundreds of years ago, a decision was made to put the B back in so that the word better reflected its Latin origin, its Latin roots. So from the point of view of etymology, which is the origin of words, that made more sense. Unfortunately, that meant it didn't make as much sense in terms of spelling because we don't pronounce the B. So, why a B in the first place? Well, let's look at those Latin roots, and that will give us the story behind the B. Okay, so to do this, we're going to break the word up into two parts, sub and then the ending TLE. Sub is pretty easy. We understand what sub means. It means under, and we see it in lots of other words. Okay, so we get words like submarine, meaning under the sea. Or we get a word like subcontractor, meaning somebody who's working under another contractor. Sub-editor, subterranean, lots of words like that. So we understand sub, that's pretty easy. But this bit here, the TLE, comes from tillus. So originally this word was subtilis in Latin. And the tillus comes from tella, comes from texere, and if we go back to here, then we get this word, which actually means to weave. Okay, so how they used to weave with the old weaving loom. So what we end up with is a word that actually means under woven. So something that's been underwoven. It's not helping us yet, but let's keep going and see if it does. When you think about weaving, you need to understand that a loom has two things, a weft and a warp. The warp are these main threads that are going this way, and they're actually tied to the loom, so they have to be quite strong. Then you have the weft, which is the other fibres that go in and out in between, under and over the warp. So they tend to be much finer, much more delicate. And so this idea of something going under in weaving terms means that it's a delicate, fine cloth. So this is what the Romans used to use to refer to fine cloths like gossamers or things that could be used for veils. So something that was underwoven was delicate and fine. And so you can see how we've got the link between that idea of something that's delicate and fine and our definition today, where we use subtle to talk about a change or difference that is so delicate that it's difficult to describe or analyse. So hopefully if you understand that definition and that story behind it, you'll remember that the sub means under, as in it's underwoven, and so you won't forget the B when spelling subtle. Thank you.